Hello, my name is Mohammed Ibrahim, and this is my presentation for my Java CST240 final project, the Media Player project. The prompt for the project was to create a media player that had the following requirements: tinkling songs, a play button, a pause button, a stop button, a fast forward button, a rewind button, title when the song is playing, and images for each button that is used or for the buttons that are used. To show a quick demonstration of what the final project looks like, this is what the final project looks like. It has a play button
بسم
that I can start
الله
playing the audio with.
الرحمن
It has a
الرحيم
pause button that pauses. I can resume
قل أعوذ
and I can stop the
برب
audio.
الفلق
I can move on to the
أعوذ
next
بالله من
track
الشيطان
and fast forward it as much as possible. So to run through what the project looks like, this project was created using Java FX. We had made sure to build it as has been described in the class for this semester. So I made sure to start off using creating a project, my media player, Java FX project, and came with the application and the main Java file in order to make sure that I was creating my scenes and using all of the appropriate controls and elements. I made use of the scene builder application, and for that I created a main scene.fxml file that can just be created by clicking on new, other, and new fxml file and click next. I won't run through that, but that's how I created the main scene.fxml file. And then I want to make sure that I opened with scene builder. And once I had done that, I made sure to create this as my template, my stage, or my scene, excuse me, that I was going to be using for the application. I started off with an anchor pane. And on this anchor pane and you looking at this panel to the left will show us the hierarchy, in case I might be speaking too fast. But the anchor pane has the label for the name of my software. It has an image, and in future iterations of this project, if I was to work on it again, I would want to make sure that this image actually changes with the track, with the image for each track that it plays. But as of right now, it's just going to be this image that shows for the Aggie Media Player. I have my progress bar. I have the different buttons that I had described very briefly in my quick demo earlier. I also have my volume slide bar, a volume label, and a volume slide bar. I have a combo box that shows the different speed that I'd like to fast forward if I need to. And as I mentioned earlier, this hierarchy shows the different controls that I have for this particular project. For each of these elements, I can show the play button just by itself. I had to make sure that I changed the properties, making it the play, the text, the name of the text that shows on the button. But because I wanted to make sure that I had images instead of just text, I made sure to make my text as small as possible because I don't want to get confused. If I take out the text, it's not going to show anything, and I don't know the difference between my buttons. So that would be it quickly for this button. And so once I had created this scene, I made sure to hit the save file right here. We hit save. and go back. But before doing that, one of the errors that I had, or one of the challenges that I had run into while creating this project was not adding the controller class to my scene.fxml file. So I made sure to add the scene.fxml, save it, and then I go back to the project. So once I click on that save button and come back to the projects, coming over here to the main scene.fxml, all of the different controls that I had added in the anchor pane that I had added would be encoded into my fxml file. And from here, and from here, I can see the different FX IDs. Some I had created and some was populated originally for me. So we can look at some of these different elements. So for anchor pane, the ID is pane, and please take note of that because we're going to be using that later on. All of these different different IDs. There will be the different fields that we'll be using in the controller class. And just using a quick example, I'll use the play button. As you can see, the button, the ID is play button. And moving on to on action, this on action is just telling us that once the user interacts with this button by clicking on it, what should happen? So it's going to call play media. Play media is going to be a method that I will be creating in the main scene controller class, and the text play. The play button also has other elements to it. It has the image that it has on it, the play button image that references the @playbutton.jpg. All of the different images that I use, I made sure to add them. I downloaded them onto my computer, and I made sure to add them. That's the Aggie logo that I used earlier. The fast forward button. And I don't even know where. Yes, the play button. All the different buttons that I had used, I made sure to copy all of those and paste them into my application. Paste them into the application package, just so that it is something that the file can, the project can reference easily in future iterations, because this is something that is only hosted on my local device. In future iterations of this product, I want to make sure that I am able to host these images onto a database, probably using, if I'm using AWS, I want to use the S3 bucket to save those and reference them. But right now, it is all hosted on my local device. So I want to make sure that it is within this package right here. So with that, all I just have to do is add play button to reference each of the different images that I'm using. And that is what you would find to be the case for all of the different buttons as well. So we find that we have the play button, the pause button. It also on action, it has an on action that calls a method, the pause method, the stop method, the next method for the next button, the previous for the previous button, the playback speed box. This is going to be that combo box that I had created within the scene builder. This is going to be for my fast forward. And also it has an on action that calls the change speed method. And this is where, for the logo that I used for my scene builder, I just also reference it from adding it into my application package directly. I also have the slider for the volume slider as well. So all of these different elements are added onto the main scene. And I'm going to go onto the main scene controller right now, where I had to implement or initialize and implement the object that I had created from the main scene.fxml file, as well as the main scene, the scene builder platform that I had created all of those scenes on. So I had mentioned earlier that we wanted to make sure that we were taking note of the different attributes. For anchor pane, it was pane. For the label, it was song label, song progress bar, all of those I had mentioned were going to be our fields. And as promised, here we are. We have the private pane, the references anchor pane, the label, all of the different buttons, the combo box. This I had mentioned is going to be for the fast forward. My slider, which is going to be for my volume slider, my progress bar, which checks to see how much progress has been made on how much progress has been made on the progress of the media that's playing. Also, I have my media player. This is where I initialize the objects, the media object and the media player object, because this is a media player project. I want to make sure that I initialize the media and media player objects. Also, I want to make sure that I have a file objects that's going to be my directory, and a file array that is going to collect files. Those files, of course, would be the files of the songs that I'm creating. I also want to have an array list of file that I created, of that directory that I created early, or that's going to be of a song, sorry. And also the song number that keeps track of what songs that have been played, speed, which is going to be for my my different speeds that I'll be fast forwarding with, the timer that keeps track of how much time that it has on the song and how much time is left, and also Boolean, where it checks to see is it playing still, is the media playing. So the very first method we want to make sure that we create would be to implement all of the classes that are from initializable. And well, the one class that's from initializable, which is the initialize, since it's an interface and it's an abstract class. So we want to make sure that we initialize or we implement the initialize class. Within that, the songs that I'd created earlier, I want to make sure that I create a new array list. And also for my directory also, because I want to make sure that I initialize our playlist of songs and directory by passing in the name of our music folder. So this music folder, I created the music folder within my application. And with that, I went into my computer, my file explorer. I downloaded some tracks. And this actually from the Quran, the Muslim holy book. So some recitations from that, and downloaded those, copied and pasted them into my music folder. So this is what is going to be referenced as my directory. So I made sure to set our array of files to directory and all of the different files in our directory. So if we still have files left, we want to make sure that we're using this enhanced for loop to add those files to the file directory. And adding the songs into the file. So right here, I have the system.out just to serve as a sanity check. It checks to see all of the different files that has been added into my directory, into my music directory. And I can literally just take this out. But I'll leave it because it allows us to be able to see that, yes, we have those 10 tracks that shows into our directory. So I'm also making sure that I instantiate the media player objects by getting the song number, also instantiating the media player by adding that particular media that I want to play into the media player. Here is where I show the title of the song that is playing in the media. This is going to be the label that for every single track, it shows the name of the track as required by the requirement of the project. So for the playback speed box, this is where I also initialize the playback speed I had mentioned is for fast forward. This is where I initialize on that certain action, because if we check on main scene, there's no on action as there is for the other elements, for the buttons and the likes. So this is where I call that on action, but I want to make sure that I initialize it right here. And it just references this change speed. I have the volume slider. I have the volume slider that allows me to increase and decrease the volume that I have. And also the change that also helps with allow me to increase that volume. So one of the very first methods that I implement is going to be the play media. This is the on action. This is what is called on action of the user interacting with the play button. So once they click on the play media for the play button on the media player, it calls this play media. Basically, all it does is call MediaPlayer.play, and that is what plays our media. But I also added these other methods because I wanted to make sure that I was keeping track of the timer, the progress on the bar, on the progress bar, that it was making sure that it was keeping up with that. Also, we want to make sure that the change speed is set to null. This change speed is for whenever I'm fast forwarding a track. Sometimes maybe I'm fast forwarding a track and I'm trying to listen to something that I'd heard before, and I know that, hey, this particular point, I keep fast forwarding, I go on to the next track. I want to make sure that it's still fast forwarding until I get to the point where I'm like, okay, yes, this is where I want to stop. So that is what that would be for. And also, whenever I change the volume on a particular media, I don't want it to just be that, okay, it changes the volume on this track, and then when it goes to the next track, it's I don't hear the same volume. It just blows out, or or whatever the case is. I want to make sure that the volume stays consistent. Pause media, also the same thing. It just pauses, and also it cancels the timer. So it stops the timer at that point until you hit the play media again. Reset media was something that I implemented before. Pretty much it just, but I don't have it on the projects right now, but pretty much what it would do if I was to implement it again is just to make sure that it resets the progress bar back to 0. So it starts that progress bar, and also the media player, because there are two different components, also starts again from 0 and starts the song again from the beginning. Stub media pretty much just sets the progress bar to 0, and then it stops the songs pretty much. And so it resets the progress bar, and then once you hit the play button again, starts again. The next media actually is going to be checking to see if the song number is less than the song size, to see how many songs there are, and also remove that by 0, then increments the song number. So first off, it stops the media from playing the particular song it's playing at that time, and then it checks to see if the progress timer is counting. If it is counting, it cancels the timer, and then it creates a new media, which means it gets a new song, adds that new song to the media player, gets the song label that we had done for the play, and then plays the media. And in that way, it does that for changing to the next, and it does the opposite if it's not running. The same thing also is going to be for the previous media. Change speed, this is where we are able to fast forward. Now, because one of the issues that I had run into was that because for my speed, I had added the percentage and percent into, where is it now? Yes, right here on this line, not line 90. I had added the and percent into my toString. That would create problems for me when I'm trying to just simply change the speed, set the rate of the speed. So for that, I have to create a substring that then allows me to be able to add my string and work around the and percent. So first it checks to see if the playback speed, the value for that playback speed is null. If it is, it sets the media player to 1. Else, it just pretty much starts to increase the speed. So begin timer, we talked about timer before. This has to do with the progress bar. It checks to see where the time is at, and it increases the progress bar as it's going. And cancel timer does the opposite, whereby it just stops the timer and the progress bar. Now, the main.java class is the main JavaFX file that extends application, as all JavaFX files do. And we have the start method that has the stage. And I make sure to instantiate the controller in this try block to make sure that we are calling the parent roots and instantiating the fxml file by calling the .load, the load method, and adding the resource of the fxml file, the main scene file that we created earlier. It adds that root node to the scene, and then adds also the .css file that we need to help with our GUI. It sets the title of our stage to Aggie Media Player, so we're able to see it right there at the top of the tab, and then also sets the scene and it shows the scene. So this is ready to play. We're now ready for a quick demo of the file. So I will go ahead and start it. So here is what my file looks like. Here's what my project looks like. So it starts off by showing the name of the very first track. If you look at the directory of tracks that I have to the left pane under my music folder, you see that it has the name of the track. I play it.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ
And pause it
برب الفلق
and play it again.
من شر ما خلق
You stop it and play it again.
بسم
I can
الله
move on to the next
أعوذ بالله
audio.
من
As you can see,
الشيطان
changes to Surah Fatiha.
الرجيم
As you see here as well in
بسم
the
الله
directory, it shows
الرحمن
Surah Fatiha. Surah Jinn will be
الرحيم
the next one, so I click on
بسم
next.
الله الرحمن
I
الرحيم
could reduce the
قل
volume
أوحي إلي أنه
or mute it.
من الجن فقالوا إنا سمعنا
I could
قرآنا
fast forward it.
عجبا يهدي إلى الرشد فآمنا به ولن نشرك بربنا أحدا وأنه تعالى جد
And I
ربنا
could
ما اتخذ صاحبة
move
ولا
on to the
ولدا
next track
بسم الله
because
الرحمن
I'm still trying to find where I want
الرحيم
to go.
الحمد
So
لله الذي
it keeps
أنزل على
fast
عبده
forwarding.
الكتاب ولم يجعل
I
له
can just come back
عوجا
to regular.
قيما لينذر
See,
بأسا
it
شديدا
changes back to this
من
regular.
لدنه
And I
ويبشر
can rewind back
المؤمنين
to,
الذين
and because this track
يعملون
is quite long,
الصالحات
you see that the progress
أن
bar is
لهم
still
أجرا
counting,
حسنا
as opposed to the very first
ماكثين
track that was
فيه
very short.
أبدا
So I could rewind to
بسم
the
الله
last
الرحمن
track as well.
الرحيم قل أوحي إلي.
And that would be it for the demo of my projects. Thank you and have a great day.